In this tutorial here, I'm going to give a quick demonstration on how to use a random number generator. As we mentioned in class, random number generators are really critical to all sorts of computing related activities. If we want to put any type of gaming together, simulations together, and we used the analogy, the simplest game in the world is a toss of a coin. In order to do that, we need to have some sort of random number generator. Okay, so here's a little demo of it. The random number generator, really simple statement. It's and I'll use cout to send it out here, and it's just rand. We'll do a endl, and then let's go ahead and run that. And we note here that gives me a random number, 41. Let me do it again. And if you look here, I get a 41 again. And I run it again, you'll notice I'll keep getting the same number. So what's the deal here? Why do I keep getting the same number, and why am I not getting a random number? Well, what we need to do with a random number, it does give me a random number based upon what I've told it to do, but I need some factor to change here. And what we do when we create random numbers is we base it upon a system clock. And we use the system clock, since the system clock is always changing, time moves forward, we use that as a seed for a random number generator. Okay, so as the clock changes, it'll base the random number off the current value of the clock, and to do that we need something called the SRAND, or the system random generator here. And what we do is we need some way to reset this or reinitialize this each time that we run our piece of software. So I'm going to grab on to the system clock, and there's a time function here, and it's just time. You'll see I have an error here because in order to use the time function I need to draw from the right library. So I'm going to hit the pound include, whoops, move that up one, and I'll say include this from the system time, or ctime library, and now this will reseed my random number generator. So I'll go ahead and I'll run it again. Okay, so I'll compile and run. Sorry, this is off the screen here. We'll just keep moving it over. Alright, so 7,456. Run it again. This 7,482. Run it again. Okay, now you notice we get some randomization going here, but they're sequential as well, aren't they? They're kind of sequential. Probably be closer to 7,600 when I run this one. I'm off a little bit, 7535, but they're basing a random value upon the system clock. That's where it starts with. All right, let me do one more example here, and then we'll look at an algorithm. Okay, so let's take that now and use that same idea, and let's generate a series of random numbers. So I'll generate 5 random numbers here. Okay, we compile it, and now we're starting to see some randomization. Okay. Let's do another one here. All right, and again, we got some randomization going on here. One more. All right, you can see my random numbers. My random numbers are going to fall, and it depends upon what C compiler you're using, but in general, my random numbers are going to fall between 0 and 32,768. And you can think again about what it takes to, how many bytes is that? That's going to be what, 4 bytes? Is that correct? 2 bytes, excuse me. So anyways, that kind of gives some idea how we come up with that value. All right, but that's not really helpful. If I want to do a coin toss, I want a 0 or a 1, and so I need to come up with some sort of algorithm here to create random numbers within a certain value. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to work with the random number generator, but I'm also going to go ahead and use a little bit of modulus division here. Okay, so what's the remainder? If I divide that by 10, if I divide everything by 10, I'm going to come up with some sort of a remainder, and I'll just use that remainder, and I'll copy that down here to generate my random number. All my random numbers now should have 10 values to them. If I use modulus arithmetic and look at the remainder of my division, and I'm dividing everything by 10, and let's see what the remainder is. All right, so I go ahead and do that. Let me run couple of series here. So I got 7, 1, 5, 7. All looks good. Let's run it again. All right, this time I get 3, 8, 2, 0, 8. Look like I'm getting random numbers. Run it again here. But what I'm noticing, I'm not getting a 10. If I want a number between 1 and 10, I need to change my algorithm a little bit. I'm getting, actually, what I'm getting here is 0 to 9. So if I want 1 to 10, I'm going to go have to change this one more time, and I will just add 1 to this. And this should allow me to generate random numbers between 1 and 10. We'll do this. This will be a little better when we start getting some loops around, so we can loop through this a series of times. But in the interim, we'll just use a series of couts. So let me try that now. Okay, so there's my 5 numbers. I got a bunch of 4s that time, a 1 and a 7. What I want to see is I'm getting a 1 and a 10 and no zeros. Okay, so let's run it again. And there's a 10. That's good to see. Let me run one more time, make sure I don't have any zeros. Okay, 9, 1, 6, 1, 7. Looks like things are working pretty well. Okay, so there's our algorithm. All right, so we generate a random number between 0 and 32,767, and then we use a little bit of integer division, divide by 10, work with the remainder, and then just add one more, and that'll give us a series of numbers from 1 to 10. All right, now we're back to the coin flip. That's where we started. So if we want to do a coin flip, and we want this to be 0 or 1, then we need to divide this by 2. Let's see if this does what we want it to do. So we're going to ask for it either a 0 or a 1. And we'll see if we do 5 coin tosses here. We should be pretty close to, let's do 6, right? See if we're pretty close to 50-50 here if we're playing a game. So I compile and I run it. Well, it looks like I got 2 heads and 4 tails. Let's run it again. And here I got 3 heads and 3 tails. We'll run one more. And here, oh my gosh, look at those results. I have 5 tails and 1 heads, all right, or however we're going to put it together. All right. So now we know how to use the random number generator. We know we have to seed the random number generator, and then we can use a little bit of an algorithm and some modulus division here to go ahead and come up with a game of probability.